This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we're in Fort Collins, Colorado. I'm out on location with Papa Lock. Since 2011, this locally owned one-stop locksmith has been providing fast response times for your lockouts and locksmith needs. I'm here with the owners. Thanks so much for joining us here today. Let's start off, first of all, Gail, why don't you share with me how you got involved doing this type of industry?
My husband was actually on the deacon board of a church, and another member of the board knew the previous franchise owner. He knew that my husband was mechanically inclined. The previous owner was interested in just retiring and moving to Florida. And my husband at that point was commuting to Denver, and he asked David if he was interested in possibly purchasing a business that would allow him to be here where we live. And so it was something of a leap of faith, and David initially learned how to do the locksmithing until we brought our son into the business.
Son into the business. This is definitely family owned and operated. Obviously, this is your guys' community as well.
Absolutely. We moved to Fort Collins from Denver when I was 4. Grew up here and got married when I was 21. Moved out to Greeley for a year while my wife finished school at UNC. After a year, we moved back to Loveland, and I've been in Loveland pretty much ever since.
Excellent. As consumers, when we're out there finding a company to do business with, trust is a big issue. Why would you say that in this industry, when you look for a locksmith, why should trust be definitely number one on the list?
Well, first of all, you do need to know that Colorado does not license locksmiths. That's not true across the country. So in Colorado, you do have to do a little bit more looking before you just pick up and call the first name that might pop up on a Google search. We are members of ALOA, the National Association of Associate Locksmiths of America. My son has had training with ALOA. He's a certified automotive locksmith. We are a family. We live in this community. And probably just as a key indicator, when you call a locksmith, you want to see an actual company name on the truck, because if there's a problem, you need to have a way to find them again. And if you're looking at a truck with a magnet that says locksmith and you get a receipt that doesn't have a company name on it, you may have a hard time locating them if you actually have a problem.
I like what you said, key indicator, no pun intended. Let's start off first of all here. Be it a residential client, commercial client, automotive client, this really is an industry where you guys are pretty much have to be available 24/7. The beck and call for the public, is that something you pride yourselves on?
Yes, we do. We are available 24/7 for emergency services. We answer the phone as often as we can. Occasionally we have to call somebody back, and sometimes they'll call a couple times and not leave a voicemail, and we try and encourage people, if we don't answer, please leave a message. We don't always know. Sometimes we get the wrong phone number. If we do answer, and when you do call us, it's either myself or typically my father that's answering the phones. It's not going to a 1-800 call center somewhere in Michigan, and then they're going to send some guy out, and like she said, in an unmarked minivan. We are logoed on our company vehicles.
Excellent. The first thing I think of when I think of calling a locksmith, especially in a panic, is locking my keys out of the car. Please make me feel good and tell me that I'm not the only one that has done that before. Is this actually more common than what people realize?
Well, because we are a franchise, we have to do a monthly report. We unlock an average of 80 to 90 cars a month, so I hope that makes you feel better.
Very much more common than I would imagine. You guys are able to obviously unlock the doors, unlock trunks. You also have special training for additional services like that of a rekey. Explain what a rekey would mean as far as automotive goes.
There's a couple different ways about it. The primary way that we go about it is when somebody loses their car keys, we've got different tools that we can use to decode this door lock. From that, we can make a key that works in the ignition, and then we have programmers that we can plug in and actually program the keys. That's typically what people need. Every now and then, if a key gets stolen, or if the car gets stolen, the keys don't get returned, we actually can take the locks apart, make it so that the old keys, number one, will no longer start the car, but number two, they will not even turn in the locks anymore.
Excellent. To say that keys have advanced is probably an understatement. And we're talking centuries ago, we had skeleton keys. Today, we've got keyless remotes that open our cars. Are you able to help people there as well with that?
We can do about 90 to 95% of what's on the road. We do Ford, Chrysler, GM, Hyundai, Kia, Lexus. We're one of the few people up here that can do Audi, Volkswagen, and some of those. We actually get a lot of referrals from other locksmiths for Audi, Volkswagen, and Lexus because they don't have the abilities or the machines that we have.
Wow. So you've got your basic keys, you've got high security keys. I see the word VATS. What does that mean? Is that something you're able to help with?
VATS is arguably the first generation transponder system. There's a magnetic resistor in the key that the car has to recognize in order to allow it to start. It started in 1986, I believe, on an older Corvette. Ran all the way up through the 2004 Corvette was the last car that had a VATS key.
Interesting. Probably more technology in that little key than people even realize. We're talking about transponder chips, probably smarter than computers I used back when I first started school. Let's go to the commercial side here. I would imagine commercial buildings, commercial owners out there, they've got to be concerned with the fact that many people have access to their keys. Many people have access to their doors. Why is it important for a commercial to have some systems in place, especially when we're talking about employee turnover?
Well, certainly if an employee who had a key is fired, or even if they leave under good terms, you just want to plan to rekey the business. Even if you feel that the relationship was a good one and the employee turned the key back in, you might want to trust that, well, that was the only copy of the key, but there's no guarantee of that. And certainly if they left under bad circumstances and you don't want them to be able to get back into your business, then that needs to be a rekey that's done pretty urgently.
Excellent. A lot of the commercial businesses out there are opting for high security locks. Why is it important they turn to a professional to maintain those or even install those rather than trying to do it yourself?
There's what's called a do not duplicate key, where you can take any key and stamp do not duplicate on it. Unfortunately, that doesn't really mean anything if it's not a restricted keyway. We have keys that we are the only people in Northern Colorado that can get those keys. So if you really want security, we have the ability to do that and guarantee that, so that they can't just walk into a Walmart kiosk, stick their do not duplicate key in the machine, and then they walk out with the key to the business.
That is impressive. Some of these commercial systems, I mean, they're pretty elaborate. They've got things like access control systems, panic bars, door closers, you name it. Are these all areas that you're able to go in and help with?
Yes, we do. We install keypads. We replace door closers. We do panic bars. We actually just were finished up at church. They were converting, I think, 6 to 8 doors in order, and they had to get panic hardware on them due to the fire code and everything. So we did just convert an entire building to.
That is great. Residential side of it, I would imagine safety is always at the top of the mind of anybody in their homes. They want to keep themselves safe. Yet I've seen people move into a home that was owned by someone else prior. We never even think of changing the locks. Is that something that you see?
That is probably my personal little pet peeve, or the thing I most try to drill into the minds of realtors. Your customer just purchased a home and they came to a closing and the previous owner slid 2 keys across the table and everybody walked away and thought we were good. And even the previous owner may not remember that they gave a key to the brother-in-law, to someone else, even short-term. Maybe there was a house cleaner. You just don't know who else has keys to your home. And it should just be a standard procedure, whether the realtor wants to make it the gift, which is a possibility, or the realtor just gives that piece of advice. Congratulations on your home. Now go get it rekeyed.
Not only that, but what a great gift idea for somebody, to give to somebody who just got a home. I never thought of that.
When I bought my house in 2012, it was a nice 90-year-old woman. She was sweet as could be. When we were at the closing, she pulled out a bag of keys and said, "Here, I got keys back from all my 5 neighbors. So you guys have enough keys." And so I left there, and actually at the time I wasn't working for Papa Lock, but that afternoon my dad came out and rekeyed my house for me. So
that is amazing. I mean, I know for myself, I hate having a ton of keys on me, especially when it comes to my residence, front door, back door, garage, you name it. Are you able to actually go in and rekey my house? So maybe I have one key that I have to deal with.
Yes. On occasion, we run into something where there's different hardware there may be a quick set on the front door and schlag on everything else, or vice versa. And one other thing that I forgot to mention earlier was, even if you buy a brand new house, we still encourage getting it rekeyed. Even if you're the first owner, there's been 65 construction people in there. You don't know who had a key. And actually, an old friend of mine, an old professor, actually had a car stolen out of his brother's garage because they moved into a brand new house and the people who were working on it walked in with a key.
Interesting. And what about folks who, let's say, move into a house, they want to do maybe an upgrade, add some deadbolts, or even maybe add some high security locks? Is that something you can go in and do as well?
Yes, we can. We can add deadbolts. We can do those same keys that I was telling you about earlier, that we're the only ones that can make those and cut those keys. We can install those on a house in order to make it, again, so if you have a neighbors or something, you don't want them to have a key, or if you do want to loan out a key if somebody's watching your house, that way they, again, can't go to Walmart and just make an extra copy really quick.
Excellent. Viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is their website. On the website, first of all, take a look at the different services they provide out there for you. This is a company that began back in 2011 serving their local community here. You can never be too safe out there, be it commercial or residential. And obviously, if you're caught out there in the cold and you've locked your key out, these are the guys to call. Definitely quick response times. Check them out on Facebook. They got great reviews there as well. Obviously, this is not only a community that you serve, but also where you live. One of the ways you give back there is what they call Pal Saves Kids. Tell me about that.
As a franchise, one of the very early policies that they put out was what they at that time called the EDU, or Emergency Door Unlocking Service, and they made it known within their various communities, the police departments in particular, that they would come and unlock a car if a child was locked inside at no charge. Most of the time people do call the police. They tend to expect that that's something that people respond to. And we do have community service officers here in town. There are varying degrees of ability that they have to unlock a car, but all of the local police departments, Loveland, Fort Collins, Larimer County, when they get a call, they call us, and we typically meet the officer at the location where the car is and unlock it, so that you've got the stressed parent who's done something that makes them feel horrible, and they don't need the expense of an unlock on top of that. And particularly when you think about temperatures and things that where the child truly is in danger, we can get to most any key car within our community in about 15 minutes. And if for any reason we can't, we let the police know that. And in that case, they might break a window, but clearly we'd like to avoid that expense. And so then PAL also is the letters for Papa-Lock, and they did a redo of it and decided that it was more child-friendly and kind of a cute little thing to use the character PAL as opposed to calling it EDU. And so that's where PAL Saves Lives came from.
That is a great program. So basically, if your child's in the car, make 2 phone calls. Make one to the authorities, make one to you guys. They'll meet you there. And obviously, elaborate cars, you guys are able to go far and above what the police officer can. Let me ask you, you're dealing with people that many times they're locked out. They're a little stressed out. On the light end, they're annoyed. But even on a safety side, we're talking about temperatures that drop to 0. Hot day, hot car, you're out in a remote area, it can be very dangerous. Has this been rewarding for you as you guys go out and put some smiles on people's faces?
It really has. That's one of the things that I really like about this job, is that there's different people in every day. There's different interactions every day. The vast majority of the time, unfortunately, we do deal with people in difficult situations. We do our best to try and appease them and make things a little bit better, and we try and joke a little bit. And like she says, we do try and remind people that we do this on average of 85 to 90 times a month in terms of just getting people back into their cars, so that they are not alone. They are not the only ones who did this. Sometimes I do 10 of them in a day. Sometimes it happens, and we try and make people feel better.
Excellent. Making people feel better. That was one of the reasons you decided this was a good fit for your family. Have you enjoyed it?
Oh, absolutely. When we moved to this town, it was a move for all of us. We've been in the Denver area, but this was our family coming to this community with really no connections. And so we obviously got involved with schools and churches and all of those things. And now we are actually a part of the business community and the chambers of commerce and all of those types of connections as well. So it's very rewarding, and I really am, again, we consider this business a gift of God, and we're really happy that it came to us.
Excellent. Last time, viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. You're going to see their contact information. Probably want to write that down, throw it in your wallet there. It's a great place to have. Stick it in your smartphone as well, because you never know when you're going to walk out and realize you may have locked your keys, not only in your car, but maybe out of your house. But not only that, from a preventive point of view, you want to make sure your commercial and your residential areas are well secured. And this is a team that can come in, and basically they're certified to work on some of the some real elaborate systems out there. That is the Papa-Lock, located here in Fort Collins, Colorado. Fully mobile service for Fort Collins and the surrounding areas. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.